Hey everybody, I'm Greg Soul and welcome to another CIQ demo. Today I'm going to be showing you how to get Ascender installed in the Google Cloud as quickly as possible. So by popular request on this one, I'm not going to be using GKE, their Kubernetes engine. I'm just going to be using their regular compute engine. I'm going to be installing this on a VM, and let me show you all the pieces that will get you there as quickly as possible. So I am by no means a cloud engineer, cloud expert, so your mileage may vary. I'm just showing you the most basic steps required. So I'm going to start right in here in Compute Engine and VM Instances. I'm going to click Create Instance. So in here, I'm going to come in, I'm going to give it a name, Ascender 1, 2, 3, 4, why not? Obviously, you want to change your region, all that stuff, specify it to like meet whatever criteria you want. I'm going to leave mine on E2 for general purpose, but I am going to do some customization. So by default, it's only starting with 4 gigs of RAM. I'm going to switch here so that I'll have 8 gigs of RAM. That's really kind of our recommended baseline. So you're going to need at least 8 with 2 virtual CPUs. We've got that. I'm going to move down to boot disk. I'm going to click change on this, and I want to change the OS to some flavor of Rocky Linux, whether you're using the CIQ one or just the regular RESF one. I'm going to go with the RESF. I'm going to go for the Linux 8 optimized for GCP, and I'm going to change the disk size up to about 30. Now, obviously, if this is your production box, right, for me, this is just demo purposes, so I'm just keeping it really small. If it's a production environment, you're going to want to crank this up to meet whatever requirements you have. So I'm going to say select there. For the firewalling, I'm going to allow HTTP through, obviously. In your real environment, you're going to want to secure all this stuff. And honestly, you're probably not going to want this exposed to the internet. For me, again, I don't care. This is only going to live for about 10 minutes. So I'm just going to go ahead and expose HTTP to the internet. Again, you're going to want to customize this to meet your criteria. But after that, I'm going to click create down at the bottom. It's going to crank for a few minutes. And through the magic of editing, you don't have to wait on this. We'll come back in just a second when it's up and running. Quick commercial break. So here at CIQ, we absolutely love helping customers build their automation environment as well as their automation practice. We have also become experts in migrating from one flavor of enterprise Linux over to another. I think you know which one is going to be my preferred for you to move to. So if you need help with enterprise Linux or migrations or automation, please give us a holler. Plus, Jimmy's getting bored and he tends to get really annoying when that happens. So I genuinely need your help to keep him busy, so drop us an email. So what I'm going to do for this one, it starts with an ephemeral NIC, and you would probably want to have that as a persistent IP or have a DNS name associated with this box. Again, I'm just doing this quick and dirty for educational purposes, so I'm going to copy this. I'm going to put this into my host file on my machine here. Now I'm going to scroll back up to the top on this box, and I'm going to SSH into it right here. It's going to pop up this little console, allow me to SSH in. It'll take just a minute. And again, through editing, you don't see any of this. All right, now that I have console access, I'm SSH into this box. I'm going to go ahead and do a quick update. So I'm going to do sudo dnf update -y. The system will update, and when it's done, we'll be right back. All right, now that it's done updating, I'm going to install Git really quick. I'm going to do that sudo dnf install Git. Helps if I spell that correctly. Now I'm going to clone the install directory that we have created. So it's going to be git clone. I'm going to paste in the URL. It's going to create the new directory. So I'm going to cd into Ascender install. So in here, I have multiple files. I can edit the default.config file if I want, or I can run through the config vars shell script. I haven't actually shown that before in a demo, so I'm going to do that really quick. I'm going to do sudo config vars. And it's really just kind of a shell script that's going to walk me through and prompt me for all my options. So I'm going to do number 1 for K3S. So it's going to ask me if I want a brand new cluster. I'm going to say yes. So it'll go ahead and install K3S on this box. Do I want to do offline install? Nope. I'm going to leave that false for now. So does the kubeconfig file need to be downloaded? I'm going to say yes for true. In my demo lab, I'm just going to be having HTTP. If I was actually doing HTTPS, I would need to update the certificate stuff inside of the variables file. I'm just going to leave this default for the routable IP because it's going to be installing the containers on itself, the VM on itself. So all of it's going to be right there. So it can access all of that via 127.0.0.1. I'm just going to tell it true for use the local host file, default for where to install the artifacts. So this, I would actually do some modifications, but again, for this demo, I'm just going to leave all of this stuff as is. So I'm going to use the ascender.example.com. And in my host file, I've actually taken that public IP address that was assigned to it, kind of that ephemeral IP, and I put that in my host file as ascender.example.com. So it's ready to go for me. Namespace, I'm going to leave that default. Administrator default. Password. Again, if this wasn't a demo, you would want to change this from default. Mine's only going to live for about 5 minutes, so I'm just going to leave it the default. Image tag default. Version default. I'm going to go ahead and say true on this one, so it'll keep the secrets inside of Ascender. No external, so it's actually doing all this stuff local. Number of replicants, 1. This is a demo environment. I don't need to do anything crazy here. My default policy is if not present, and I always put that on all of my execution environments. And for this demo, I'm not going to install Ledger, so I'm going to turn it off with number 2. All right, so if I do an ls really quick, I can see that it has created a custom config.yml file. If I cat that, you can see it's filled all this good stuff out. And now that I've got all that created, I can just execute my shell script for setup. So I'm going to do sudo setup.sh. And again, through the magic of editing, you're not going to have to sit and watch all this. We'll come back when it's complete. All right, so the install is complete despite that little error message that's showing up right there. It actually is up and operating. I'm going to switch over here to my ascender.example.com. to do a quick reload, and it should pull it up. So as you can see, it loaded up correctly. So I'm going to try and log in. Admin, my admin password. And there we have it. The system is up and operating. So it doesn't really take that much. You can configure fairly quickly. Now I went through the editor to, or rather the shell script to configure that customs configuration file that you could just copy and paste. If you've already got it created, you could just copy and paste it in there again, or you can edit the default. So it really comes up and operates pretty rapidly. If you have any questions or comments, I'd love to hear about them. If you can see how you would tweak or tune this, please, like I say, give me feedback. We always want to hear more from you rather than less. So reach out to us. Again, this one was a request from someone in the community. So please share that stuff. Happy to build any of this stuff. If you need some assistance building out your infrastructure, we are happy to do that. I love helping folks out and answering questions. We love coming in and doing professional services. We love supporting all this infrastructure. Give us a shout. If nothing else, thanks and happy automating.